work. This is Tuesday Talk. What we do here is we pretty much have a platform or a forum for you to, for us to pretty much talk about issues that may not be talked about on a regular basis. I think the purpose of the show, and like I said last week, the purpose of this show pretty much is to just provoke talk.
Right.
Because, talking can be life-changing. It can be profound. It can be therapeutic for some people. Everybody don't get to have somebody to talk to, so we're using this as our platform to reach people, to talk about issues that we think are important.
Right.
If you're new to Periscope, you can tap anywhere on the screen to give us hearts at any time. Hearts is a good thing, and you probably found out by now that if you touch anywhere, you'll accidentally give us a heart. So keep the hearts coming. Also, this is a live platform, so your engagement with us is very much appreciated. Go anywhere on the screen at any point that if you want to chime in and give us any feedback, feel free to type your messages, anything. We'll read some off the screen, and pretty much we want to have an open dialogue. So make sure that you interact with us, because that's what makes the show more interesting. That's the whole purpose of the show. Sometimes we have our own viewpoints, or we think things of a certain way, and you can hear someone else say something and it strike a chord within your mind, and you're like, that actually makes sense.
Agree with it,
right, you agree with them, and it pretty much puts you gives you a different perspective on things, or viewpoint. So that's what the purpose of this show is. Like I said, we just want to bring awareness. You can also, if you're on the iPhone, you can also swipe to the left and you can share the broadcast with any of your friends on Facebook, Twitter, which is your Periscope friends as well. All right, so we've done the introduction. You know what the topic is for tonight, Lola?
I sure do. Today's topic is hood mentality.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about hood mentality. I think that the reason we need to talk about hood mentality, one, because mentality pretty much it's a way of thinking.
Right.
And I think that your mentality as a person can pretty much make or break you. I think it determines if you're going to be successful or not. I think it determines like how far you'll go in life, and it's just really a big part of your life. So I think that by talking about this, we're talking about hood mentality. I mean, I'm from the hood.
Me too. I am too.
Okay, but I'm not hood.
I'm not either. I have hood ways, but I don't consider myself as a hood person.
Okay, so I mean, so you said that. So then, what do you consider to be hood then?
Well, what I consider to be hood, not everybody is like this, but when I think of hood, I think of like low income.
Hey, how you doing up there, Lady T?
Hey, what's up? I think of like low income, poverty, just a loud person.
But does loud necessarily qualify as hood? Like, can
just
that
like an aggressive person, just like
But I mean, I hear you on aggressive, but does that make a person as hood? Like, we have friends that are loud. Would you say that is hood?
Somewhat, yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Hey,
it just depends on how you carry yourself. I can tell, for the most part, if somebody is from the hood or not, just by a conversation or just by the way they look.
Well, someone out there just said ghetto. Ghetto is a place. So, in Tracy 2002, she says they're just obnoxious.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. But most of the time, I feel like when we're talking about obnoxious, there's all type of races that are obnoxious.
It is.
So why do we get called hood? J Squared, are you out there? Can you hear us, J Squared? I don't know if we lost J Squared or not.
I think we lost her.
But we'll go
maybe
on.
next Tuesday. We lost her. Sorry.
Okay, so this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
For me, hood is, I think that it's a way of being. Like, we come from environments where we grew up and we saw violence and we saw drugs and we saw all of that. Somebody said white people hood too.
I agree. That's
we
why
don't
I said
disagree.
It's not everybody.
I think to me, hood is pretty much taking on the mentality of where you're from. Like, you talked about all of that other stuff, like the drugs and the violence. If you let that be your mentality, and some Tracy 2002 out there, she said it's obnoxious. I think all of that together makes a person hood. So this is my question. Lady T say it could be the way that a person was raised. I absolutely agree with that 100%. I think that, and that's why we're talking about mindset, or that's why we're talking about mentality. Do you think that because you were raised a certain way that qualifies a person that's having a hood mentality? That can qualify a person.
It can, like she said, that was a really good point. Even though I was raised in the hood, I had a different mindset. I didn't want to. Some of the things in the hood I didn't like, so that's why I got out the hood. And of course, I don't want my daughter to be raised in the hood as well. So,
but how do you break that? Like, we're both raising kids. You're raising a daughter. I'm raising kids. How do you break them from not having that hood mentality? Like, first of all, let's backtrack a little bit. Is hood mentality even a bad thing? Like, is that bad?
It's some pros and cons as far as to having a hood mentality.
Well, Lady T on it tonight. She said,
I'm loud.
She's loud and obnoxious, but she have moral. So let me ask.
The only thing that comes from being hood, though.
Oh, that's J
Square right
okay,
there.
I know we lost you. Go ahead.
So J Square, what you saying out there?
Anything else from poverty to just settling, like you get stuff. I don't know if I could delay when I'm talking. I don't want to cut y'all off, but when you hood, it's like the lower level is okay. Like, you're satisfied with, living check to check or looking a certain way. It's like your priorities are out of order. It's like you got to raise your kids to be better than what they see, because if they see, like girls, for instance, if they see girls with lashes and long weaves, they don't think that that's what they're supposed to do versus, getting an education what the non-hood people do. Like, I don't know, it's kind of
that's why you move out. That's why you move out the hood.
But I don't. But is that because? Is that personality, or is that them being hood? Because girls wear long lashes or long weave. Like, does that make them hood? Because I don't necessarily think.
No, I wear weave and long hair and stuff like that. It's just the way you act. You know what I'm saying? I wear those things. It's just the way you act.
Because you can have long. I think a woman can have long hair in her head and these major eyelashes, and I don't think that necessarily makes her hood. I think if she's acting a certain way while she's wearing that stuff, then she can be hood.
But where do you see that? Where do you see 20-inch weave and leggings? You see that in the hood. You don't see that on Michelle Obama kids. You don't see that with the little scientist daughter. You don't see that. It's like it's when your mind soaks up all the bull versus soaking up what it should soak up. Like, when you in the hood, it's okay to be, if you follow down and all that stuff. Not, okay, I got a degree. If you tell somebody in the hood you got a degree, they don't think you talking about deodorant. Like, the mentality.
Okay. So what are some of the pros of hood mentality? Is it some good things about it?
So I think there's some good things about it. Like, for me personally, I think that this is a diverse world. You come across people.
Yeah, it is, because when you in the hood and you see everything that's going on, like you see all the bad stuff, the crime, and you see the bad stuff going on. The only positive that can come out of that is to turn it into a positive and say, hey, I don't want to go through that. But in the hood, they're okay with it. Oh, Johnny got shot or somebody stole this. Like, that's peace for them. That's entertainment. The hood is nothing but entertainment. And, that died.
Well, Tracy 2002 says she know hood people that got degrees. So what do you say about that? I think my whole thing is that she say, well,
they're still in the hood because their hood mentality, they didn't use it.
Look, J Square said if they got a degree and they still in the hood, then they still have a hood mentality.
I mean, I'm not saying it's all bad as far as being in the hood or whatever. I've learned how to survive from the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it is some good things to
That's
live
why
in the
I
hood.
don't think that. I think there are pros that come from the hood too.
Right,
We're talking about hood mentality. This world is tough out here. It's a rough world, and I don't think it's all negative just because someone comes from the hood. I think a bad stigma comes when we put the label of hood on someone, because sometimes you can be hood, and that just means I'm defending myself. I stand up for myself. Sometimes I gotta be loud because I don't need you running over me. like why is that? So why am I considered?
Hood in you. I'm the same way.
I don't think it's hood because you're standing up for yourself. I think hood refers to classless.
I don't disagree. I think there's a certain amount of class that is related to hood. And Taria T asked the question. Taria T asked the question, what is hood? And I think it does have something to do with class, the way that you carry yourself, like the way that you're acting in certain positions. Let me give you an example. Like I don't think there's nothing wrong with being hood. I think the problem comes when people don't know how to cut the hood off.
Yeah, you gotta turn that switch off and on.
That's what the issue is. Like
to.
I didn't for most of my career or most of me working, I worked in places where I interview people or like I've been in management positions, and I get people like when you get it's so crazy because you get people. And they come up to you with the "What's up, bro?" and they try to give you the handshake.
It's like,
no, it's nothing wrong with you being like that. That's cool, but keep that on the street.
Keep that on the street.
And that's what I'm saying.
Professional.
People don't know how to turn it off.
That is definitely enough.
But I think though, look, Angel A say that is true.
Like the girl with the bright red hair, like that's just weird.
The girl with the bright red hair, but why she got to be hood because she has bright red hair, though? I don't think that. Sometimes people show form of personality. Let me give you an example. I done worked in the suburbs. I worked in the suburbs and I worked in hood places. And let me tell you something. I've never seen more colorful hair than when I worked in the suburbs. The people in the suburbs, and we'll say people of other races, for lack of a better word, people of other races wear red hair, blue hair, purple hair, orange hair. They wear all of that hair, but they're not. They don't get the stigma of hood attached to them.
Do you think they're hood?
But I bet it's cute. I bet it's cute. You come to the hood. If you come to the hood with a girl with red hair, Reggie cheating on yoga pants.
It's just the way you carry yourself.
T-shirt, cellulite out, like she's not caring. Like it's okay to have colorful hair and be classy with it, but red hair with you. If you get what I'm saying, like that, it sends the wrong message. It sends a hood message.
It does.
So Miss Toffee says that she thinks it's different because the hair is actually kept up. But does that matter? I just really do not like that.
It depends on how that person and I'm not saying all black people, but versus a white girl wearing like colorful hair, a black girl wearing like colorful hair. You see a black girl wearing colorful hair with contacts on, with fake nails, just with the fake goose. It's just.
Well, Tracy 2002, she says that she wears color hair. So let me use my own self. Let me use my own self as an example.
Okay.
This twist that I got in my hair, this sponge or whatever thing, it is associated with the hood. I got tattoos across my chest. I got tattoos on my arm. But if anybody knows me, they know I'm the furthest thing from hood. So why? Because I choose to do a certain thing that you deem as from the hood, that you have to automatically say that I have a hood mentality. I do not think that is the case. And I think
you
that
don't carry yourself like you're from the hood.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
And I think that most people keep going off of the characteristics or certain things that look. Lady T say, "Reggie, you a lie." Lady T, there ain't no hood in me. Okay, maybe a little hood, but I'm not.
No, your hair just hood. No, your hair just hood.
Mercedes say your hair just hood. That's what I'm saying. So let me ask you this. So we got people on the call. So Lady T saying I'm a lie. Mercedes is saying I'm hood. But this is what I'm asking though. Am I hood because that's what you view as hood? That don't necessarily. Why does that make me hood? What have I done to say that I'm hood? This is what I think is the problem with people.
Look, don't ask me. I know you. So I know you kind of hood. Don't ask me.
This is what I think is the problem with people, and especially black people. We like to put everybody in.
Very professional.
Exactly. I am hood because people should know how to turn it off. And we're talking about mentality. So if you just joined the call today, we're talking about hood mentality. And we're talking about mentality because it's a way of thinking. And the reason that we're talking about hood mentality is because there's so many people who are deemed a hood. They may not necessarily be hood, but people necessarily view them as hood because that's what they deem to be hood.
Right.
And I think the problem is that us as black people, we cause the division amongst ourselves. So we don't want to go and deal with this person because they too hood for us. And then the hood person don't want to talk to somebody like me because I'm too watered down for them. Like, where is there such a division amongst us? Like, that's what I don't understand. So what do you think about?
No, Trisha said she got a degree, she wear color hair and all that. She's part of that minority that made it out the hood. Most people they're okay with being at the lower level. That's the difference between being hood and versus being other, because you're not okay with the lower level. Hood is like they make a lot of excuses. I've noticed that. In the hood, it's like, oh, this happened. I got 4 kids, so my life sucks. I can't better it. When you get out the hood, you move forward. And after you're not hood no more, you become watered down to the real hood people because you ain't got that life no more. It's okay to progress. Hood people lack progression, and they look at the watered down people as watered down because we chose to do something better. I feel Central Park and Douglas on the west side. I don't belong here, but I'll make the best out of it.
But why do you think you don't belong there? Like, are you better?
Do you consider yourself hood? J Squared?
No, I'm not going to say that I'm better than everybody else over here, but I'm going to think it because I don't want to get that hood mentality. I want to keep the mentality that I got.
And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. And that's why I said that if you're going to have, if nothing wrong with having the hood mentality, the problem comes is when you don't know how to turn the hood mentality out. You should not be hood. You shouldn't be anything in every situation. Because let me tell you something. I don't mind the hood mentality. And we talked about raising kids before, and people mention kids don't hear. I kind of want my daughter, and like, I want her to have a little bit of a hood mentality. And why? Because I think that that's done something good for me. I think it's made me aware. It's made me alert. It's made me diverse. It's made me adaptable. Like, all of that is necessary to be able to survive in this world. So I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with hood mentality. And I don't want anyone to feel like that was the topic of the conversation. Right. Like I said, we're nobody's therapist. And I always got to put that disclaimer out there. We're nobody's therapist. And we're not trying to push our views on you. That's not what we're trying to do. Like, pretty much what I'm saying is that these are my opinions.
Right.
And this is what I think is important to me. And you may have a different viewpoint, but we all can come together as adults and have a healthy debate.
And talk about it.
And that's what I think the good is. The good in this show is, like I said, like, I don't mind my daughter have a hood mentality, but am I going to raise her to be hood?
I don't want her to be hood.
I think people, parents especially, have an obligation to make sure that if you're raising your kid in the hood, I think J Square made a great point when she said hood people lack progression. Right. I think you have an obligation, you have a duty as a parent that if you're raising yourself in the hood, if you're raising your kids in the hood, to say, this is what we're living in, but you don't do this, you don't do that.
Right.
So Teresa 2002 say it's not all about being better, it's about bettering yourself. And that's the black people problem. We blame. What do you think about that statement?
I do think we do blame because it's so many. You don't have, just because you're from the hood, you don't have to stay.
I agree with her 100%.
You don't have to stay in the hood just because you're from the hood. You can better yourself. It's different ways. Just like people from the hood, they have degrees, they have nice houses, stuff like that. Just because you from the hood don't mean that you have to stay in the hood, have that type of mentality.
Well, Lady T says anyone can be anyone can be hood. Mm-hmm. That's not my topic. I don't mind hood. I mind a hood mentality.
Yeah.
That is my issue here. That is the reason I want to have this conversation, because at some point you have to break yourself from that. If that's where you come from, like they said, better yourself. Like, right. if that's how you grew up, want better for yourself. If that's all that you know, then you have to have the mindset to believe that you can be better than that.
That's all you want is that hood. If that's all you have is that hood mentality, you have a problem.
And that's why I wanted to talk about this issue tonight, and that's what my biggest topic is because, like I said, and I agree with the people out there who say everybody have a little hood in them. That's true. Everyone does have a little hood in them, and it does not just apply to the black race. It applies to a multitude of races. Yeah. My problem is that people carry on that hood mentality and they take on the personality of the hood. The hood don't love you nobody. The hood gonna be there once we dead and gone. So why people repping their hood? We're from the hundreds, 10-5 and all of that stuff. Nobody cares about that stuff.
They sure don't. I know I don't. Preach. I don't.
Like that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And when you get to that point, that's where I think that you've taken on the mentality of the hood. When I'm 10-5 or I'm this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that if you're young and you're a kid and you don't know any better. But there's grown people that are adults. You 30-some years old, still repping the hood that don't love you. Like, I don't understand crazy. That. She said, so how can you change? She says, how can you change the hood mentality? Lady T, and I think that's a great question. And like I said before, well, what are your thoughts? How do you think you can change the hood mentality?
It depends. Like, I could speak for myself. My mindset was just different. I guess it depends on your household, how you was raised and stuff like that. I knew for myself I never wanted to raise my child or stay in the hood. It depends on your environment.
I think you changed that hood mentality. One, I think it starts with...
I was raised in the hood. Like, me and all my sisters, we shared one bedroom. Like, I remember one point in time, we were sharing towels because we weren't going washing. I knew that that's not what I wanted to do, and I knew that I had to do something better. So, it's beyond education and moving out. In order to change, you got to change your life. Like, the hood is materialistic. They rather spend, like, people worried about their life being cut off, but your man got on true religious genes. Like, it's a lot that falls under hood mentality. It could be the hood relationship you in, your lack of parenting, because, you pretty much letting the kids raise their stuff, and they going off what they see. So, hood mentality falls under a lot. Like, it's a lot.
It does fall. I think it does fall under a lot of stuff. But I think the answer to no matter what it falls under, what category, whether it's a hood relationship or we're talking about just being in the actual hood, I think that you ultimately have to want better for yourself.
And that's what
your thinking has to change at some point. At some point, you got to realize and you got to say to yourself, this ain't what I want.
I want more for myself.
And people be afraid to say, I'm better than this. Hell yeah, I'm better than this. Like this is where I come from, but I'm better than this, and I want more. And that's what you got to teach your kids, and that's what you got to teach your friends, the people that you're around, and it's self motivation. Just like everybody out there keeps saying, you have to motivate yourself. I think too many people from the hood, and we're talking about hood mentality, is looking for a savior. They waiting on somebody else to make it, and they come bring the whole crew out. No, it don't work like that.
You have to do it for yourself. You can't wait on anybody.
And Frida out there says you have to want more. Lady T says, I heard that. Hell yeah, I'm better. I don't want to be bothered with ghetto people. You know what, Lady T? I ain't gonna be like, I don't mind the little ghetto people like that. I don't know.
My little hole in the walls.
I don't want to live in the ghetto.
I don't either.
Like I don't want to live in the ghetto. But ghetto people, like they the best party people. Like they know how to have a little fun.
I'm scared of
Wait, what did J Square say? I agree with that. Lady T says I don't mind. I don't mind it, but I don't.
I don't want roaches. I'm scared of roaches. That's some good stuff. That's a hood animal.
I think Lady T just hit it right on the head. She said, I don't mind it, but I don't consume it. And that's what it is right there. We're talking about mentality. You cannot let what you're around, if you're in that type of environment, you cannot let it consume you. You cannot let it take you over, because the moment you let it take you over is the moment that you've just stopped your self-progression. And that's what I think that the problem is that people let it consume this because they feel like this is all that I know. Like, I don't know anything else. Like, this is what I'm used to.
I'm a little hood, but no, I can't be around it.
Lady, she said, I'm a little hood, but I know I can't be around ignorant people. I think the word little there is an understatement. Everybody want to downplay themselves today.
Exactly.
Most of the people on this call is hood. Frida say I can do White House or Trap House, but at the end of the day, I go to corporate America every day.
Exactly.
Thank
so
you,
you
Frida.
know how to
You
turn
understand?
it on and off. Exactly. Thank you so much.
That's what we're saying right there, and that's what people need to be. You need to be adaptable. You need to be able to survive in the hood. That's why I say I don't want my daughter. I'm actually a little bit scared, because I feel like my daughter she's so suburban, and like she's out in the suburbs. Like, I don't know if she's gonna have that edge to her, and I think the edge that I have, I think it's a much needed edge. And I'm not saying that she has to be like me, like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I would like her to have a little bit of an edge about herself, because I think that you have to be able to, like Frida said, you got to be able to be in the hood, and you got to be able to go work corporate America.
Exactly.
And that's what our job, like I said, if you're talking about raising kids, that's our job as parents, to make sure that we're saying, hey, you can have this in you, but you got to also want more for yourself.
Exactly. When it comes down to it.
Like, I just think, so.
That was a great point.
So, Lady T.
You do. We talked about that as well. You do.
Lady
need
T
that
said you need a little hood
in
to
you.
survive in this world. I definitely agree, and that's why I said I didn't want the broadcast, or I didn't want this message to be about are you hood or are you not hood, because I do agree, like it's been said out there many of times, most of us have a little hood in us, and that's not the problem. The problem, like I said, and I'm going to say, continue to say, is the mentality of it. And people out there make good points. They say because you're consuming it, you're pretty much allowing it to let you take you over. And then, so do you think that because you're in that environment, because some people may say, I don't even know that I'm hood, or I'm not letting it consume me. Do you think that you can unconsciously take on the mentality of the hood? Not knowingly.
Not knowingly, I don't think I can.
What about you, J Square?
I know I'm kind of conscious about, how I act around certain people.
But you don't feel like that there's something that happened in your environment, or like
I think you know when you falling off. You know what's right and you know what's wrong.
Right.
So it won't be hard enough to not fall into that hood. Because when you think of hood stuff, you think of wrong. Bootleg cable, free life. Like, you know right from wrong. So it's hard to go from having some common sense to a hood mentality.
But those people, okay, so are we giving those people a Takesha said she agreed with J Square, but are we putting a bad stigma on those people? Because yeah, those people may have bootleg cable, but let's talk about the hood. Most time when people are from the hood, they live in impoverished communities.
They do.
They don't have a lot of resources. And this could be any race. They don't have a lot of money, so they're doing whatever they feel they need to do to survive. Why are they necessarily? Is that a bad thing, or is that wrong? Or
that doesn't make it okay to steal. It's still some good stuff.
I mean, some people.
That's when you work harder and you better yourself so that you don't have to do those things. You don't got to look over your shoulder versus everything that you're doing. You do better. And you can do better things.
Lady T says it's no excuse. It's out here for everybody to get. And so we're talking about mentality. So do people really believe that? Because I personally believe it is out here. It's a little bit harder for us to get done. So some people feel like it's not an even playing field. Like the odds are stacked against us.
Because he's saying it's money out here. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, but people feel like the odds are stacked against us. So do you believe that the odds are stacked against us?
I go on the clock every day and I'm getting money. I know I can go out here and do something illegal and get it fast, but you got to just take your time and do it slow. Do it the right way. That's how the right person would do it. The wrong person, that hood person with that hood mentality, they're going to get it quick and get it wrong. Everybody else works for it, so why can't they?
I don't disagree that it's harder, but not impossible. It's Tracy 2002 said it's harder, but it's not impossible. And I'm not disagreeing with anybody, but I'm just asking the question because some people on the other side will say that it's this much harder. You don't understand what this struggle is. So
sometimes it's just an excuse. Some people just use that as an excuse not to do what they have to do.
I do. I think it can be used as an excuse, and that's why. That's why I said I wanted to ask the question because we're talking about mindset. So do you think that those people who are saying it's harder, it's not an even playing field, do you feel that they have that hood mentality and they're just making excuses for themselves?
Yeah, a lot of times it is that.
So I missed that message. I missed that message that just popped up. Taria T said maybe that's all that they know. And that's what it is sometimes. That is all that they know. Let me tell y'all something. Most of the people on this call, or most of the people that's commented, at some point, I think they've had someone instrumental in their life to make them want more. Somebody has affected them along the way. Everyone doesn't necessarily have that. And I'm not saying that that's an excuse for them, but sometimes you do have to understand why people have that mentality. I don't think that you can necessarily fix the hood mentality if you don't understand why people have that mentality in the first place. So first you have to break a person down and let them know that you can be better than this. You don't have to be this. So I think we're so quick naturally also to just judge and say they don't want better, or I don't think it's really anybody out here that don't want better for themselves.
It's people out
you
here
may
that
come
don't,
across some people like that, but like people want to do better, but they don't know how to do better.
It's scary. You know, anything new is scary. Like you can't.
I think new things are scary.
Everybody was scared. Reggie, I ain't have it easy. I worked for everything that I have, like on my own, everything. I didn't have nobody in my corner. I was scared, but I knew I had to do something. It's just, oh no, I feel like it's all excuses.
So Pagamondo said you have to understand them to enhance them. I think that is a great topic, because if you don't understand, most of the time when you don't understand something, we're talking about hood mentality, most of the people saying I don't have that mentality. So when you don't understand something, how can you even help someone to break outside of that? So I think that's one of the solutions to the problem, is we're so quick to distance ourselves from that. And I'm not saying I'm not included, because I don't like hood people literally can, I get so upset with them. It's not that I don't like them. I get so upset with them because I'm like, man, you're supposed to be doing better, or man, you could be doing this. Because I'm not gonna lie, I know so many smart people from the hood. I know so many talented people from the hood. I know so many people from the hood, or that have people that have hood mentality.
You could be doing this. Like, why?
Exactly.
Why are you doing that? You could be doing this.
And that's what I'm saying, Lola. There's so many people who have this mentality, and they just don't know how to break free from that mentality. And I think that for everybody that's on this call, because we're all saying just do this, just do that, I would challenge everybody. If you know somebody who have that type of mentality, that you do have to take them under your wing, because we have an obligation too to actually break the cycle of what that mentality is. Because it affects us as a whole. Like I said, my hair's like this, and I got tattoos all over my arms and stuff, and people naturally associate with me with that. And although I don't have that hood mentality, the people who do have that hood mentality, they're making it bad for all of us. So we have an obligation as well to make sure that you find somebody, or the people that you know, that you do your best to, like the guy said out there, to try to enhance them.
Enhance them. Try to help them.
Because
that's a great point.
Because we have a duty as well, and I know.
Take a village. That's what I'm talking about.
Free to say, I'm gonna save a ghetto life tomorrow. Absolutely, though. We're talking about mindset. You do have to have that mindset, Lady T. And Lady T said, no, they don't, Corbett Reggie. Like, they do. Sometimes you do have to reach out, and you have to help somebody. Absolutely. Like, you just do.
But what if they don't want that help? Like, what do you do?
Well, hell, you try. That's it. Like, that's it. You want to live that life. You want to have that mentality.
You like having that ghetto mentality.
But like I said, some people just literally, they don't know. Like, that's why I asked the question, can you unconsciously have that mentality? It's some people out here who would swear that they don't have a hood mentality. And one of us would look at them and be like, oh my God, like they're absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I gave the example of the guy or guys period coming in saying, what's up, bro? What's going on with you, man? Like, they're doing that in interviews. They don't think that there's nothing wrong with that. It's a teaching process. Like, you gotta actually make sure that like if I sit down. Let me
ask you this: Did you take time out to let him know that, or you know what I'm saying?
That's a great question.
Did you take time out?
You better believe every interview that I do, and I feel like somebody had a hood mentality. At the end of that interview, I say, this is what you need to do, and I always ask the question. Always ask the question, how many job interviews have you been on? And I always end with that. And the reason that I end with that, because they say most of the time they say I've been on a few, and I say, then I follow up with, how many callbacks have you gotten? And they say none. And I say, this is why you haven't gotten any callbacks. Now, I'm not. What you need to do is you need to go and you need to change A, B, and C, and you need to make sure that you're doing this, because this is probably the reason. Like I said,
what is good for you? Yeah.
Like, you just got to make sure that you're playing a part too. So Tracy said, living down here, I found that it's not just blacks that hood. I don't think that it is just blacks that hood. I don't think that at all. Like, people have been saying on the call a number of times that blacks are not just hood. And I don't think that. I don't want anybody who's watching this show to believe that we believe that blacks are just hood. I think there are a lot of people who are hood. I think that we're talking about us because... I
don't think that everybody got a hood.
Tracy said, there's white people, there's hood in every damn body. I don't necessarily disagree with that. What I'm saying is that there's too many of us who have a hood mentality. And that's what bothers me. Exactly. That is what bothers me. And I can't speak for everybody else. I can't tell everybody else. But all I'm saying is, the reason I'm saying there's too many of us, because although it's not me, they are a representation of us. When the world view you, they like, as a black man, I have to jump the same hurdles, and I have to jump over the same things that the next black man jumping over. So I want to make sure that I touch on this topic, because you affected me. Like now I'm viewed as hood because you out there doing that.
Right.
So you know, and that's what I'm saying. So I want to make sure that if you're a person who have that mentality, that you take a minute and you sit back and you take some time to reflect. Actually think, like y'all said, like Lola, you said I'm a little hood. Somebody else on the call said I'm a little hood too. So maybe I need to take some time to reflect myself
and I'm not
say,
saying this
well, what am I doing
in a bad
to give
way,
people that
though.
impression?
Long as you know how to turn it on and off.
Frida said it's not an easy task to help someone see that change is necessary. We have to be patient. And I think patience is going to be key. It's not an easy task. Like I said, if you're just joining in and you're new to Periscope, like I said, you can tap anywhere on the screen. You can give us heart. You can swipe your screen to the left. And you're also able to share it with your friends. And you're also able to comment live as well. And we do read the comments live. If you're just joining in, also to my right I have Lola Pearl, and on the phone we have J Squared also as a guest co-host tonight, and we are talking about the topic of hood mentality. And the reason that we're talking about hood mentality is because, like I said before, is because mentality, I think it determines where you go. So Pac Armando said, as an educator, my students respect me more because I got some good in me. It's not easy at all, especially that if that's all that they know. I think people do respect people a little bit more. That's why I said, and he's an educator. So I think that's a good feel. I think it's good when you come from the hood and you understand the hood mentality,
exactly.
and that you are educated. So good job to you. Shout out to you, Pac Armando, because I think that's a great thing, because those kids respect you because you're relatable.
Exactly.
And that's what I think. I think sometimes we become so big, or we get so caught up in the fact that I don't want to have that hood mentality, or I don't want to be associated with hood mentality, that we forget that that's where we came from too.
Exactly.
And like, you know, that's a big deal.
So
like,
that is
because we get so caught up in it. I don't want to be like, I want better for myself. I don't want to be associated with that. And I'm probably viewed as that the most, more than anybody. And like I said, that's why I do this show, and that's why I do that, because for people who have hood mentality, I don't think that there's anything wrong with you. I don't think you're bad people. I don't think any of that. But like I said, you have to do better. You gotta want better. And at the end of the day, you can't make excuses for yourself. Like I said, we're definitely both raised in the hood. Like, we come from the hundreds.
Born and raised
around Corley. Like that's where we come from. If you're from Chicago, we're from the hundreds, and everybody knows that everybody know that the hundreds can be a rough place to grow up. And I don't think that we took on the mentality because, like you said earlier, we wanted something better for ourselves.
Exactly.
Tracy 2002 said, I agree, but I get mad because we act a fool. We do act a fool, but sometimes, I mean, we don't know no other way to act. That's all we see. Like, I mean, that's what's around us. And that's why I asked out there, do you unconsciously just take on that? Like, you don't feel like the hood has had any effect on you? Like just think in retrospect. I'm saying, like, maybe you've changed something in your life along the way, and think back on it and say, like, was that really because I came from this place? Like, because I grew up this certain way?
A few things that I have went through in my past, that I did. I'm like, what? That was kind of hood, what I just did. Like, that mentality was pretty hood, and I made a vow that I'd never do that again because it was just stupid to me.
Because for me, growing up like that,
it was a learning experience for me.
Because for me, growing up like that, I took on the mentality of people will always try to get over. And I don't know if that was the right mentality to take on, because when you're from the hood, you know, you got to always be on top of your A game. You got to always be on your toes. And I took on the mentality of, you know what, you're not going to get over on me. And I think, I didn't know that I took on that mentality. I took it on unconsciously. What really made me realize that I took on that mentality is because for so long I had worked in the hood. I grew up in the hood. But then in 2009, I switched to work in the suburban area. And I worked with a different race, predominantly white people. Let's just be truthful. Okay. I work with predominantly white people, and I would talk to these people, and I would go to tables and like all of that type of stuff, and they kept saying I'm rude or I'm this, I'm that, and I think it's because I came across as so defensive. It's because I always thought that you can't trust people. That's why I'm asking, like, sometimes, or why I'm stating that sometimes you can take on this stuff from the hood, or you can have this hood mentality and you didn't even know that you had it.
Okay.
Like, I didn't even know that I was like that, and then I had to go back and reevaluate myself and be like, you know what? There isn't bad in everyone. Everybody ain't out to get you. Everybody ain't trying to get over. So, like, you have to break yourself on that type of stuff.
Well, that was good. You was able to go back and say, wait a minute, it's something wrong with me.
But
Let me change.
But
Change up.
like they said, Lola out there, like that took patience, and I didn't know that I was like that. Like I didn't have no clue. So that's what I'm saying for everybody who's on the call saying that they don't have a hood mentality and all of this. I'm not saying that you do or you don't, because I really don't know. That's your business. What I'm saying is that I do challenge you to take a moment to like reevaluate yourself.
I know I did. I can't say what I did, but what I did, it was some hood stuff. I wasn't working at the time. It was some hood stuff, but I said I'd never do that again. That was crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. We tried to. What Jay Square said that you should have wanted better for yourself. Like you don't have to say what it was, but do you feel like that was something that you had to do at that particular time?
At the time, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. So is that you having a hood mentality, or is that just you trying to make it out here?
It was a little bit of both, because it was really stupid.
Okay,
It was a little bit of both.
It is. So
I had to think about it, reevaluate it. Like I'm so much better than that. I should have got my ass up, filled out some applications, got a job like any other regular, working citizen did. So
Lady T said, nope, that's surviving. But I don't know if it is surviving, because there's a lot of people out here who's trying to survive, and they go to work and punch a clock every single day. I think,
surviving.
Let me tell you something. When you have a hood mentality and you need to survive, you take on what you know, because that's all you know. But there's other ways to make it out here. Like surviving doesn't just qualify as you going and doing something that's hood.
Right.
So Frida said, we live and we learn. And I agree about that. I think it's all about growth. I think growth is an important part. That's a big thing. So any last thoughts, Laura, on this topic, hood mentality? I think it's been a pretty good show. Like I really like this topic.
We got a lot of hearts. Okay, I see you.
Lady T said in survival mode, sometimes you have to do what you got to do, not saying stay in it. And I don't disagree with that. I agree that sometimes
what I've learned how, as far as surviving, like, it's 2 weeks before you get your paycheck. You only got $20. I know how, that me living in the hood, I know how to stretch that $20 for 2 weeks. I know how to get a pack of hot dogs and some what a can of baked beans and a pack of Kool-Aid. I know how to survive. That's what I call survival.
It is.
That's
surviving.
what I've learned in the hood. But as far as that illegal stuff, nah, that's just stupid.
So Tony Mac 415 said, this is my first time. This is very interesting.
Thank
you out there, Tony
Thank
Mac.
you so much.
We appreciate all the feedback. We appreciate the comments. Look, Miss KK said, don't forget the noodles. Everybody know. Look, everybody from the hood know what a pack of ramen is with the beef flavor.
I like chicken though, but yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, y'all. So this has pretty much been an interesting topic. We appreciate all your feedback.
Thank you so
we
much.
do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on Periscope.
So
make sure you
in.
join us. Tell your friends about us. So before we go, we just want to make sure that
Me too, sis.
we just want to make sure that we mention that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yes.
And if you were on the call last week, we did the call with our good friend Kay Mitch. She was sick tonight, so hopefully she'll be joining us again next week. J Square, we appreciate you for subbing in. You did a phenomenal job tonight.
Yes.
We appreciate all the great comments, all of the feedback. Definitely some great points made. But like I was saying, back to this. Let's do a B-Day shout out for my boy Pacamando. It's his birthday tonight.
Happy birthday.
He's 33 years old. So happy birthday to Pacamando.
I just want to quick. My auntie is a 10-year breast cancer survivor. So shouts out to you, Nancy. Love you.
And I definitely want to finish what I was saying because Kay Mitch is not on the call tonight. But we want to make sure that we mention her mother. Her mother is also a breast cancer survivor. Yes. She's beat cancer a couple of times. So shout out to you, Miss Mitch. We love you.
We love you so much.
So and we definitely appreciate that. Make sure I guess cancer is affecting a lot of people. It seems like a lot of people are dying out here from cancer.
My grandmother.
So make sure you get your checkups. Make sure you take care of yourself. And your health is number one priority. Lady T, thank you. She said great show. My grandma, my mom. Look, I don't even know. Look, my mom just says my grandma is a cancer survivor. So shout out to my grandma.
Grandma.
There's so many people who's beat it out here battling breast cancer. So please make sure that you get your checkups. Make sure you take care of yourself. Like I said before, this show is all about awareness. We want to just make sure that we bring awareness to a lot of topics out here. So we're about to check out. So Lola Pearl, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Instagram, Lola_hips, Lola_Pearl.
And if you're looking for me, you can also find me I'm on Periscope, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter.
Everything. He's on
I'm
everything.
on everything as Live to Contribute. That is LIVE, the number 2, and contribute. Thank you all so much. Thanks for all the hearts. We appreciate all of y'all. Make sure y'all join us next week for the live show on Periscope. All right. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Until then, make sure that you do something to build someone up instead of tearing them down. I always like to end with that because that's really what it's about. That's really what this show about. So I end with that on every show. Build someone up instead of tearing them down. That's what's really important. Talk to you guys later.
It's a wrap.
Call ended.